G'day YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's shed. And look, we're in the shed. Woohoo! Oh, I like being up here. It's a lot better than sitting in an office, I tell you. We're running a bit late with our stew this week, but that's alright, we're getting there. It's Tuesday, Tuesday morning this morning, and you may hear that little bit of background sound. Can you hear that at all? Look, it's just a light shower this morning. We haven't had any rain to speak of. The big dam, well, I've still got another pump out of the big dam, so I may get another one yet. And it's starting to warm up a little bit, but you may hear a bit of background, but it's just a change to have something. Rather than have all the water in the dam evaporate, I said to Jude, we may as well get in and use that little bit that's left up rather than just have it evaporate and disappear, and keep our plants alive. So if we get a bit of follow up, which they reckon we could do this week, it'll be good. So it's been hot, and Sunday I did the watering and did the trees and all that sort of thing, and I actually went up the backyard at home's terrible, burned off, and where it gets a bit of shade it hadn't been so bad, but the edges are getting straggly because we haven't mowed in months and months, and so I took a pot of water up there, my 1,000 litre pot of water up, and watered the backyard and the veggies and all that. We've stopped growing the veggies now. There's just no water. We're getting no rain to do it, so it's just mainly maintenance, keep the place on the road, so that's all right. But today we've got this light little shower, and I'm having a couple of days off, like I said last week, to work on tractors. So on Saturday, I went to the shop early and did half a day there, and then come home, and we mate Paul's little Austin ute. He's got a little Austin 10, and I'll take you at the end. We'll go for a bit of a walk around, and I've got her on the hoist here at the moment, and it's the only, according to the Austin Club of Australia at least, it's the only registered Austin 10 in the world, and ute. And I think he was telling me that there may be another one or two that they know of where they are, but there's none actually going and registered. So, pardon me. So, what we've been doing to that is, it's had good oil pressure. They did the engine up like 20 years ago now, or maybe a little bit more, and all of a sudden the oil pressure went right off the dial, and so Paul was a bit worried about it. So he had a friend lend him a gauge, so he's put that other gauge on, and it's showing 60 pound oil pressure, and it has an adjustable relief on it, and we backed that relief out, and we still couldn't get this bloody oil pressure down on this secondary gauge. So the old fellow, old Harry, there's a fella in Bundaberg here, Harry Mason, and he's done many of the vintage car engines over the years. He's 94 now, Paul was saying, and so Paul went to have a visit and had a yarn to him and see if he could throw any light on the subject, and he said, oh well, if you've got plenty of oil pressure, there's not much wrong with the engine. And look, we don't think there is, but it's one of those engines that it gets more oil changes than fuel bloody top-ups, I think. But if he's going anywhere with it or taking it away, it often gets an oil change before it goes, because it does sit for a little bit in between days out. So anyway, we had a look, and he said there was a little, where the relief ball was, there should have been a little sleeve, and I couldn't see any sleeve in there. So I got the endoscope going, and we pulled the relief out, and I fed the endoscope up through where the relief valve is, and you can do that externally, and I was sure there was no sleeve in there, and I could actually see the seat. Originally the ball, the round ball, it was a funny imperial size, like 1532 or something like that. And the ball was quite rusty. It was an old ball. You could see it in some time in its life it had moisture on it. So Paul went and got a new ball and put in the relief of it, which probably made the problem worse because you have more oil pressure with a good sealing ball. So anyway, I got the better of us the other day, and I said, look, let's get her up on the hoist and get the sump off and have a look and just see what's going on. and because yeah, he wasn't driving it. He didn't feel safe driving it with his high oil pressure case. You know, it had a blockage in the system and it was high at this end, but it wasn't getting to the other end or something like that. So we've got it up on the hoist there at the moment, and we've pulled the sump off and the oil pump out and all that just to have a look, and look, that's fine. I've pressure tested everything, and we actually fed the endoscope in and out and round and up the lines, and well, look, we're confident there's nothing wrong. And so I've got a digital gauge that I use for hydraulics. It's $500 worth, this bloody gauge, and you plug it up the back of a John Deere or something like that, and look, I'm sure it's accurate. You can zero it, and you know, it does what you think it does. So we made an adapter up so we could take the gauge, this fella lent him, out of the car, because on close inspection of this little gauge, it was just a little dash gauge they were using, and I didn't reckon it was coming down touching the zero needle. So anyway, I put the good gauge on, and we were actually blowing with air up into the oil system with the air hose, and you know, a rubber grommet around sealing it up, and I could hold it up there, and we could adjust the relief with the air and make sure the oil or the air was coming out around the ball. And look, the ball was sealing fine, and with the old gauge on, I could hold air up, and we were whacking 80 pound into the oil galleries of this little Austin, and by their gauge. And I thought, well, I didn't have the compressor on. I was surprised it was 80 pounds. So we undid that gauge, we put my digital gauge on, and straight away we lost more than 20 pound. Yeah, with the same charge of air. You know, start the compressor up and just turn it off, and then just give her a blast, sort of thing. And yeah, we lost 20 pound there straight away. So we're pretty confident that the gauge was wrong. Why the gauge on the dash of the car decided to go up all of a sudden, we don't know that. He may have a spare dash with a spare gauge in it, so I've told him if he gets that little gauge and his spare dash, and we work out what fittings they are, I'll make a little manifold up, and we can have a manifold with like my digital gauge in, his old dash gauge and his new dash gauge, and we'll just compare them all and see. And with the digital gauge, we can probably calibrate whichever gauge he wants on in his car, but I don't want to muck around with the oil gauge it's in his car now, and you know, re-twig it, sort of thing, because yeah, they don't have pounds per square inch on them. They have green and red and things like that. So, and so we could twig it a little bit, so you know, it comes up higher or lower, goes lower. So, but anyway, that's I mean, that's what I was doing with Saturday, and then Sunday I'd try and behave myself up the shed here a bit. So I've actually had a clean up in the doorway. I've had, when you're busy, well, I don't know, I suppose Brian, everyone will understand, and when you're busy, you come home, you park the ute out the front, and you get this and that out, and you piss off and go into town again or go to work, whatever you got to do. So I've got a bit of a not dicky throat, just dry throat this morning. And so yeah, I've cleaned up here, and I've got a bloke a bit interested in this John Deere here, and I said, well look, I've got to plumb it up and do all that sort of stuff yet. So that's what I've been doing. You can see all these new hoses through here, and I've welded brackets on up the back there to support the hoses. It's got these here, but yeah, I've have a roll of hose here, and I'm using the reusable hose ends. You don't see them anymore much. Back when I started my trade, all the farmers used to have half a dozen joiners for reusable hose, and if they blew a hose on the discs on the back of the tractor or on something, they'd cut him off with the hacksaw. It's shit stuff because of the braid in it, and this has got two braid, double braid hose, and look, it's good for about 5,000 pound. These reusable ends, look, if you were running 10,000 pound, I wouldn't choose to use them. I probably wouldn't use them at 5,000 pound, but for a normal old tractor like this that runs on about 2300 psi, look, they're fine. They've been fine for years. So I probably should do a little video on putting an end on. It's probably becoming a lost art, but Bearco sells these. We've got them on the website, and they sell a pretty wide range of them, and so that's what I'm using. They sell the hose and all that, so I'm just using the hose. We have to put a T-piece in here. That's what this piece is doing, and then I'll have to run a little loop around back into this hose here. So we're nearly done with that. I'll put that back up there. Now, see this yoke here? Yeah, I think, well, it looks that you can see that. They've got a full yoke down the other end, a full wide one, but this is just a little U-shaped one. So, look, not how I probably would have chose to do it. These pins aren't too badly worn, but you know, I get them cheap at work, so I think I'll put new pins in for them. And I've still got another axle seal to do. So yesterday I stayed home, and I didn't do any filming, anything like that. I just wanted to get a bit done on this tractor, on the John Deere, so I felt comfortable moving over onto me Fergie's having a play. So look, it's nearly done. I've only got to do this top crowd circuit, and then I can put the bucket on and all that. But I do need at the back of at the priority valve, where it builds up pressure for your steering before it lets anything else. They must have had a T-piece in there one time to take the feed to the control valve on the loader here. Well, that's been lost in somewhere. Yeah, somewhere when we remember. If you remember back, I bought this tractor in 6 big pieces and put it together. But it starts and runs well. I've just put a new battery in it now, and over this week sometime I'm going to get it out and test it a bit more. Look, I'm pretty sure it's good. But get the loader on, get everything greased up and worked out, and clean all this up, and you know, it's only a matter of grab a pin and roll this forward, and I can paint that a bit. I painted where I welded the brackets there yesterday while I was doing it, so that's a good thing. I am enjoying being up to the shed away from work for a couple of days. I'm going to look. I'll probably go in Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. We'll just see how we go. I've got Paul coming out one day this week. We haven't actually made an official time to come and work on the Austin again, but he's all worried about, I don't want to take up your time, you know, you're busy. And I said, that's all right, you know, just you'll be doing it. I'll just show guidance. So anyway, so that's what we're up to with that part. Now, I bought something, and I bought a little Makita nut gun. Look, it's only a 3/8 drive, and I bought a couple of kits of sockets to go with it, proper impact sockets, and I reckon that'll help me. It's just, I do have nut guns, but I took a shine to this little fella because it's so compact, small in the hand. It does up to 3/4 AF sizes, which is like a 1/2 inch bolt. I think it's 200 Newton meters. I think it did just a bit over 100 foot-pounds, which, look, I was using it yesterday and I probably doubt that figure myself. But anyway, sometimes when I was using it on the end of these to rattle a male end up there, it struggled right at the last. But when I got the hose in the vise and I was actually pulling on the spanner, it was quite hard. Yeah, you had to have a bit of a go. So yeah, being Makita, that's a good thing. I dropped my light the other day working on the young fella's car, and I thought I'd just try and find a Makita torch. And look, I have done. I have a Makita torch over there, but it's got the normal little bulbs in it. Often when you use it all day, it gets hot, and if you drop it, bump it, something like that, the bulb blows. So I found on eBay, there's some bloke, stay there, there's some bloke, and he's made a light. It's just a flat thing he's 3D printed to click on here with a work light on it. And I thought, what a bloody good idea. So I've bought, he had one with a light on it already, and it's got it's 27 watt LEDs, I think, and it just slides on here and you can position the light. But he had a couple there that he 3D printed with the proper tongues and all that for the Makita, with wires coming out. Now I've got a couple of beauty little reversing lights, so I bought a couple of them, and I reckon it'll help tremendously in the shed with filming and all that, you know, if you can get that light from down low up. But anyway, look, we'll see. They're not here yet. They'll probably be here for next week's stew. I'll just put these back down. Pardon me. But yeah, we launched the website last Thursday. God, I've been busier than one-legged man in an ass-kicking competition, I'll tell you. I didn't have time to scratch. I was doing 80, 85 hours per week. And look, it got to the stage where it was way better than our old one, our old website, and last Thursday we launched it. So it's www.queenslandtractorspares.com.au, and there's still some photographic work that needs to be done. A lot of the photos with the Queensland Tractor Spares logo on them and the watermark, we're actually taking that off. We think if we take that off, the picture will become a clearer photograph to see, and some of the pictures you can see where I've edited them in the past, and I didn't have the stuff I have now, and I can do a lot better job now. So so there's still a bit of work on the photographs, on the items and that. There's a lot of parts to go into it. I got the Ford system, the categories worked out this last week, and that's done. Now I still have to sort out the Massey Ferguson categories better. At the moment you just hop into Massey Ferguson, look at engine, and everything's jumbled in there. So we're going to split that up into like pre-100 series, which is 35, 65, 100 series, 200 series, 1000 series and things like that. So just so less clicks, people can head to where they'd like to go a bit sooner. So we still have to do that, but this week I said to Chief, I told last week that yeah, I'm bugger it, I'm having a few days off. So so hopefully, well, I've got this, I've done a full day and a bit on this. I've cleaned this bay here. Where the Fergies are needs a tidy up, and I'll do that as soon as I've done the stew here. I brought the laptop up the back, and I thought I'd have it editing in the background while I do my sweeping and that. But I use Power Director. I was using Power Director 17, Cyberlink Power Director 17 to edit, and I went to 18, and all my titles, you know, that I use for Massey Ferguson 6-speed and multi-power and the Kangaroo stew one that comes up, normally you can go into your C program file, Cyberlink, and you can find your titles, and you can copy your titles from one into the new one. And for some reason on my laptop it won't bloody copy through. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I'll just have to, I have to give it another go. I've had a couple of goes at it, and you can hop in and save your titles and drop them in onto a little portable hard drive or a USB stick and transfer them across. But yeah, look, it's not working this time, so I don't know. I'll be a bit pissed off if I've got to sit and redo them. But anyway, I suppose a freshen up of any channel is a good thing. But I just thought while I was doing the 6-speed one, it'd be nice to keep everything going. But so I've kept 17 on the computer at work and haven't updated it yet, just to keep the continuity of it all. So, but look, getting back to the website, we've decided to put a few different things on it. I've taken the suppliers page off. I could see no benefit in the suppliers page. Everyone knows where we buy parts. It's common knowledge. They can Google them any old time they like. So I've taken that page down. We've got a link to Bundy Bear's shed for the YouTube repair videos that people seem to enjoy. And we've just started putting a technical page there. And on the technical section, we've got three columns sitting there at the moment. The one on the left is how old is my tractor, and I've done up a sheet at the moment for the grey Fergies, the Fergie TE20, the serial numbers, the number that they made, and the different variants and things like that. Just information, free information. Then under that at the moment I've done the Fergie 35, you know, when they were gold, when they were grey, yeah, which engines, around what serial number the engines changed and all that. I'm a member, I support, or I sort of pay the bills for the Harry Ferguson Tractor Club of Australia website, and some of the information's on that site as well. And then there's a fellow, Vern Finlay, and he's a technical officer for the Fergie Club, and I sort of worked with Vern a little bit on a couple of things. They play my videos down at Lake Goldsmith and at the steam rallies and things like that. So some of the information I've taken off there, and where Vern's done a little spiel of it, I've adapted that and brought that into another document to make it a more complete document. The way they've had it, it's handy for the newsletter and that, and there had to be a size, and look, it's good. It's good content, but I've actually brought that into the How Old's My Tractor, and we're slowly going to work away at that, and in time we might be able to put categories like Ferguson, Ford and all that. We sponsor the Fordson Tractor Club of Australia, and they're having a big get together in West Australia soon. And so Dawn and Barry, the secretary, and they're in everything to do with the Ferguson Club, that pair. They're going to scan some information for us, re Fordson serial numbers and just things like that. So we're going to try and have it as a place that everyone can go to. If we'd like you to buy parts, but look, it's just somewhere where everyone knows there's going to be info. Then in the middle column, I've only got one thing there at the moment, and that's like an ignition switch for an alternator, and it's a photo of the back of it with a few arrows, and yeah, you know, number 1's battery positive, number 2 with either 2 or 3 terminals, ignition or accessories, auxiliary power. Number 3 is a big 3/8 terminal for glow, and number 4 is a small terminal for start. So that's a shell of the product bulletins that we're going to bring out with the stuff that we sell. So you can actually hop on there, and if there's a bit of info there, it'll be good. Then on the right hand column, it's got technical downloads or technical articles, and what we've included there so far is any old books that we've found that we could scan in, or that we found as open source on the internet. And I think at the moment I've got the TEF 20 Fergie operator's book, the parts book for that. If you've got a Zenith 24T carby on your tractor, I've adapted and changed the the Zenith carby technical bulletin. Look, they brought one out with it, but there was a lot lost in the in the translation of it, and there was mistakes all through it. So I've gone through there and I've fixed what I can, and re-edited it. And you get all this stuff for free, but I've snuck ads in. And I thought, bugger it, you know, if I've got to make these PDF documents, I'm going to sneak an ad in there, and if they get shared worldwide or shared around amongst your friends, that's fine, but I'll have an ad there. And I've actually put the full workshop manual for a Ferguson grey tractor, the T20s, the full workshop manual's there, 40 megabytes. I've got the full workshop manual, the proper Massey Ferguson publication of the Massey Ferguson 35 workshop manual, the whole thing. And I've got the full 135148 workshop manual. And that manual was over 100 megabytes, and so I put in a compression program to bring it down, because I've got a maximum size of 61 megs that I can put as a PDF document. And so I found some software and we shrunk that, and we've lost a little bit of definition on it, but look, it's still certainly usable. There's no problems there. So I can't think of what else is there. That might be it. But as I find documents and books and all that, we're just going to have a free resource there. I'm not making any money out of that part. It's, you know, people just don't know where to look, so they can come onto my site and do that. I'll probably never sell another Fergie workshop manual in my life, but I might sell some parts. So and look, in saying what we're doing there, if you have something to contribute to the technical pages, that you'd like to offer us for the technical pages, email it to bundybearsshed@gmail.com. That's the email address on the little thing on the end there, and I'll put it on the technical site, and it'll be available free of charge. I won't profit out of any of it. It's just making a resource. So I got the phone ringing. Jude's been at work for 10 minutes, so I better go and answer the phone. I might be back. Well, back again. That was my mate JD, John Dudley. He's a farmer bloke, collects international tractors, so he rings up for a yarn now and then. So that was an hour, and he hung up after we had a bit of a yap, and my mate Rack rang up. He's in Bundaberg at the moment, so they got a couple of cheap farm hauls, him and his mate. So he go and drop into the shop and grab some bits and pieces and all that. So yeah, there you go. Phone rings and it's an hour and a half out of your day buggered, but without mates, what's the point of it all, eh? You gotta give a bit of time and enjoy a bit of a chat. So but look, that's probably all we got. I'll take you for a little walk around the Austin and show you that go. It's a bloody lovely little car. It's a real credit to him, and we've got the sump off that, as I was saying, and I might even take you for a quick walk down to the dam and show you what's left of the dam. The showers, the sky's lifted a little bit at the moment, and the rain's gone probably, but I haven't had a chance to look at the radar yet, see if there's any more coming. So hopefully, once I get this stew up simmering away on the editing suite, I'll start cleaning up over near me little massies there, and the next day or two we can get some stuff done. I've got to do the brakes on the 6-speed. I sat the front axle in, but I've got to do the kingpin bushes and the front wheel bearings on that. With the brakes, we'll probably put the foot plates on and adjust the pedals and try and get them as nice as we can get them, and then we'll start just putting a bit of bracketry on. So that's probably a bit boring. I think it'll be in from Ireland today or tomorrow, a new injector pipe for the 6-speed, but I have to put the injector studs in the head, and there's a lot of just little fiddly shit, and that's fine. It's a little things on a restoration that make a difference. So the 135 bonnet that I got last week, I'm thinking of putting that up on a stand and doing a bit of a dummy run with that, just to get an impression in my own mind how it's looking. Is it going to be what I'm looking for, or is it going to go straight on like they say, or are we going to have trouble? So we'll just see. But look, that's it for this week. Thanks for dropping by. I'll go handheld and we'll go for a little bit of a snoop around the Austin, eh? Well, it's washing out a bit, but here's me mate's little Austin. What a beauty. Just a lovely little car. It used to work at the airports apparently years ago, carrying bombs and that out to the planes, but I said, how come you painted it red? He says, I just always wanted a red one. That's fair enough. I'll come around the hoist here. We've got it sitting there, got a little alloy fuel tank hiding underneath. Yeah, what a little gem, eh? It's been done up a lot of years now, but yeah, just a lovely little car. Alright, we'll go for another walk. Well, here we are. That's Bundy Bear's shed up the back there, and the dam on the right, it's been empty for quite some time now. A little bit of a breeze here today, a little bit overcast. Like I say, we had a couple of mils of rain, but not a lot, but that's empty. And the main one that we're pumping out of, we've got a little bit in there still. There's I'll probably still get a couple of pumps out of it, but you can see at the edge here, if I can zoom in there. Oh, that's not zooming in very well, is it? That might clear it up for you. But yeah, hopefully we'll get another couple of pumps out of that, but the whole idea is to get a few storms. I've showed you before the dead trees in the area. When we went out to Biggington the other day, the mountains that you go past, normally it's just a sea of green, but this time it was just, you could actually see all the rocky outcrops. So with a couple of showers we've had, oh look, getting a tinge of green. But we'll go up the back, I'll show you a bit up there. Well, the birds are having a bit of a sing this morning with the few showers that we've had around, but yeah, up the back here everything's looking pretty crappy. Bit dry, but look, we're in the time of the year when we will be getting a few storms and that through, so let's hope we get some. They've been all around us so far and we haven't had any with runoff rain, but one section of the paddock there, you can just see a line goes across where the green starts, so must be something a bit better in there, eh?